have our next mom coming up. Today is October 21st, 2025. This little boy right here, his mom is coming up here to speak. She has traveled across the nation to come to Washington, D.C. today so that she can speak to you, Congress, about the Family Justice and Accountability Act. We're giving her a moment. This mom is here today to speak about her son. So I'm going to introduce her. Go ahead and say your name, your state, and your county, and then go ahead and read your testimony.
My name is Danielle Honorati. I'm from Winnebago County, Rockford, Illinois. I'm the mother to Prince Smith. Dear Congress, first I want to thank you for having all of us here today. My name is Danielle Honorati, and I'm here speaking out against the injustice in CPS. And DCFS, the family court system, and the behalf of my son, myself, and the people of Illinois. On September 20th of 2020, during COVID, my son was removed from me by an investigator named Blake Box. With two police officers, they came to my house and removed my child without providing me any court order, paperwork explaining why they are taking him. I was threatened with an arrest, and they told me that I would be charged with kidnapping if I didn't hand them over my only child that I had after constant miscarriages and 14 years of infertility. My son was ripped from my arms as he cried and screamed for me, but I couldn't do anything about it. I wasn't allowed to see my son for several weeks and found out it was due to multiple hotline calls that were never been properly investigated. These calls were coming from people who either didn't like me or were upset with me. Even my ex-husband made false accusations after I filed for divorce in retaliation because he wasn't a citizen and no longer was able to use us for citizenship. There are so many services that were offered through the state. There are so many services offered through the state and through CPS and DCFS that could have been used first before making a decision to take a child, which I was never offered. No safety plan, no alternative ways to work through these accusations while my son stayed in the home. The reports haven't been investigated properly. I was asked to provide my work schedule, and once I did, they only scheduled my visits at times I was working. I would show up and do my visits, and they would say I never showed up and that they didn't know whether or not I had proper housing because I wasn't there to show them. Yet I provided them with a copy of the lease I had. I passed all drug tests and breathalyzers, yet they said the tests were watered down or inconclusive. I completed any and all services I was asked to, yet they continued to tell me more and more services before I was able to get my son. I believe they hadn't closed my case because it provides this broken system with more money, the more kids are actually in the system. At my last court hearing, my caseworker, Alvania Perry Burks, said things I never did and was very confrontational, aggressive, and sarcastic. She continued accusing me of lying, accused me of being pregnant, and I was always with a paramour. My son has been hurt more in foster care. In the visits I had with him, he has bumps, bruises, scratches, and scars. Yet every time I asked how are these things happening, the concerns never get addressed, and I'm left in the dark. When my son was in care, the only time he needed to go to the doctor were for his shots and his checkups. My caseworker, Alvania, has been coaching my brother and his wife to get an attorney to take my parental rights away. The GAL, Tim Whitman, is more focused on watching TV than paying attention to my child. And he was supposed to be there for. Every time my caseworker, Vania, showed up, my son would run and hide under the bed because he didn't want to see her or talk to her. They tried to say it was my fault, but Judge Buell said it was how I parented him. That he was scared of her, but I never did anything to coach my son to be afraid. They made me go through all these different services, which I didn't, and I passed through, and still called me unfit as a parent. They put us through all of this and then expect us to not have some type of trauma or issues with the system. They cause mental and emotional harm when they put parents through this. But I've been dealing with this for 6 years now. I got sick and tired, so I decided to further my career. I went back to school and became a certified dental assistant and a certified nursing assistant.
Amen.
I passed all background checks and drugs tests, and I'm also a mandator, and I can't even be around my own child. Mind you, I never used drugs to begin with. I have no felonies on my record. Yes, they placed my son with a known felon. I worked 16-hour days, 16-hour shifts to be able to provide myself an attorney. Ivania mostly attending court meetings through Zoom, but the last time she showed up in person to mock me by laughing, smiling, and proceeded to stick her tongue out at me. This is not professional behavior. No matter your personal feelings, this is not right to act this way. I have video of this happening also. In my last court hearing, they said they were going to take my parental rights away, stating it's because my son's father showed up for court and I filed for parenting time in probate court and hired an attorney. But I believe that this is the real reason. It's because I reached out on social media platforms to share my story about the corrupt and unjust actions I've endured in my case. Exposing their actions, I went through 2 judges, Judge Green and Judge Buell, both whom refused. It allowed me pro se and told me that I can't speak without an attorney, stating there have been 2 different caseworkers on my case, Evania Perry Burks and Rebecca Krause, 2 supervisors, Kathy Z and Lisa E, who are no help in this case at all. I have 4 public defenders, and the last one, Colin Evans, he just liked to scream at me loud enough to the people in the courtroom could hear it. They are taking an innocent child away from a loving, caring mother. I can only imagine the pain my son feels when he goes to bed at night and is wondering where his mama doesn't want him. When this isn't the case, this is my story, and I hope it leads your hearts to pass the Family Justice Accountability Act.
It's criminal what you guys are doing. Criminal.
She can carry a gun. She can participate in the Second Amendment, but she can't carry her son. False allegations in the hospital from a whole group of people who are allowed to call in false allegations. One of the most important parts of this bill is that false allegations are going to start having criminal repercussions. You do not need to have someone call an anonymous call in. If you have the audacity to call in abuse on a child, you better have the confidence and the balls to say who you are. There is no more anonymous phone calls if you're not able to back up who you are and back up what you're saying. And so the Family Justice and Accountability Act, for this mom that just testified, her life would have been radically different. This little boy's life would have been radically different if people hiding behind a phone, no names, no nothing, were not allowed to call and say whatever they wanted about him to make him seem abused anonymously because they were jealous of their mom, because they didn't like the mom, because she broke up with somebody. Now they've hurt this child because all they want to do is hurt the mother. And we have caseworkers sticking their tongue out at her in court. It's atrocious. These people are in there and not trained. They think it's a joke and they think it's funny to control and torment a mother who has just given birth. Use her postpartum against her as if that's some sort of abuse. This has to stop. This poor child is hiding underneath a bed and he's been placed with a felon and she can bear arms. Okay, Congress, we really need you to pass this bill. And we're demanding that these children are returned home. And so with that, we do actually have a good